Welcome, everyone, to Ladder Daily Digest. We honor creators, and it's Tuesdays with Tim. And we are all like we're in Tim Rathbone's living room, and we're just hanging out. And since it's Christmas Eve, we're just going to talk about some Christmas stories. We have with us Exmo Joe, Heidi Love from Unfiltered Rise podcast. And thanks, Tim, for letting us in your living room.
You're welcome.
So anyhow, do you want to start with a Christmas story as well? But before that, I was going to say that Maven is going to join us in a little bit with a pre-recorded message, and Megan Connor is going to come with a pre-recorded message, and Nathan Draper throughout the show. I'm going to sort of splice them in and lead into it. So we don't know when they're going to come in, but I'll just splice them in here and there. It'll look like we don't even give it whether those people said anything or not about Christmas. But anyway,
just boop it.
You have a Christmas story from when you right after fire was discovered. I teased Tim about his age. The elders.
My gosh. Yesterday I watched my favorite Christmas movie, which is A Christmas Story. And I was thinking
you'll shoot your eye out.
Yes. Love it.
Because I got a BB gun for Christmas, just like that.
What was it? A Red Ryder?
Mine wasn't a Red Ryder, but it was similar.
Sled?
No, the BB gun.
Oh, BB gun.
Yeah, the BB gun.
No. You'll shoot your eye out.
Oh.
And even Santa tells him, "You'll shoot your eye out, kid." Then she kicks him down.
Pushes him. Yeah.
So since we're Mormon tangential, Tim, was there anything sort of Mormon-y about Christmas that you noticed that was different from your Christmas than friends in the neighborhood?
No.
You didn't really notice.
We had the Jewish family across the street and the Jewish family down the street who had blue lights and a Hanukkah bush for that. No, Christmas was the same for everybody. Yeah.
Except there was green jello. There was green jello there.
No,
I was going to say.
No.
Yeah, Christmas?
That's the Utah.
Hey,
jello.
that's Utah. I'm in Utah. You're in Utah. You're shaming Utah right now, Joe.
But one thing I remember is that everybody was celebrating Christmas on December 25th as the birth of Christ. But as a Mormon, I knew better. I knew that Christ was born on April 6th. Anybody here know that?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
You know that.
Every Christmas we would
and
say
so,
that. You
know, okay, we'll
it's just
celebrate
like a
December.
Catholic thing that it's December 25th. It's actually kind of pagan, but we were just going along with it to be nice to the Catholics, just because for traditional sake. But
Rise
really
with the S-U-N. Yes. Right.
But having the secret knowledge that it was really April 6th and just being able to say, wink, wink is like, okay, we'll go wrong with the rest of you because Jesus wouldn't be all about these presents and this commercialism anyway. The reason for the season is, love and family and stuff like that.
Meanwhile, the Mormon Church owns ZCMI Mall, and they're like, "Yes, commercialism." Oh, sorry.
Let's go shopping.
Yeah, there was ZCMI, and then now it's the City Creek Mall. Yeah.
So one thing that occurred in my family, even though we weren't poor, my mom acted as if we were poor because I think growing up in the Depression, save everything. So my main Christmas story that I was going to bring is that she worked, I don't know if it was a Relief Society project that they had, but she had made some stuffed dolls, sort of like Raggedy Ann and Andy, but they were really like Raggedy Nobody, right? Just kind of like a blob with 2 arms and 2 legs. And so I opened it up and I was like 5 and I was like, what is this? This is stupid. You gave me a doll. That's a girl's toy or whatever, but it could have been like a boy. And then, so my older brother said, well, it looks cool. I'll take it. And I was like, okay, you have it. And so he played with it the rest of the day. And the rest of the day, I was sorry that I gave up a toy because my brothers were saying, well, G.I. Joe is a doll that we play with, right? And they're boys play with dolls, And so I couldn't get it back from them. I didn't know how to renegotiate that transaction. And so it kind of taught me a lesson about, my mom did something. She slaved over it, whatever it was. And I rejected a gift, and I shouldn't reject gifts. So Joe is a gift in my life, and that's why I won't reject him, no matter how much he just behaves like Joe.
Oh, Joe.
Hello, everyone. I don't know how many people out there are going to relate to my Christmases, but I'm sure there will be some. So, and it might not be quite what the norm is. For me, Christmas, growing up, I associated it more or less with conflict and not good feelings. The opening presents was nice in the morning, and it just seemed like the problem started almost immediately after that. So it was the whole rest of the day that was just kind of something to get through for me. It there was just always a conflict. I don't know why. It just there's just something I guess about our family. We weren't very close. We weren't very happy in general. So I guess an unhappy family spending too many hours together in one day. I think maybe that's where it'll inevitably go. I don't know. It seemed like I couldn't avoid it, even if I tried to mitigate it while it was happening, or if I just tried to like sequester myself in my room for the rest of the day, I would end up getting pulled out sooner or later. So yeah, so for me, I just never really liked it. Just presents was the only like redeeming thing about it. So I remember one Christmas, this was my first year at BYU Hawaii. I hadn't been able to afford a plane ticket back to the mainland for Christmas and then to be able to come back the next semester. So the campus is practically deserted. All my roommates had gone home with family for the holidays, so I was the only one there. And yeah, so it was quite lonely. Like it seemed dead just outside and everywhere. Just there was nobody around. But Christmas morning, I had woken up extremely early. I decided to go to the beach. This was this first year of it was a rough time. College was rough for me, and even in Hawaii, I was definitely not getting as much beach and sun and air as one should when one lives in Hawaii. And so yeah, so since it was Christmas, since I was alone, I had talked to my family briefly, but that was it. I went to the beach. I took my mat, and I sat on the sand looking at the ocean and just feeling the breeze and smelling the air and watching the waves. And eventually, once they got used to my presence, the little sand crabs that come and clean out their holes, their little dens, they started doing that, and they all they watching me. So it's kind of cute to see all like their little eyes, little tiny eyes, just watching to see if I'm gonna move or scare them off or go after them or something. But I just never got peaceful moments. It's difficult for my mind anyway to calm down and be peaceful. It's difficult for me to sit still for very long without doing something. But this was just a moment, I think, just maybe because it was Christmas, I was able to just allow myself to do that and sit and reflect and just really be present in the moment in a way that I hadn't been maybe for like months at that point. It just was not a skill that I had. So it was actually really nice and peaceful. Is the first Christmas that I just felt peace, and I really liked it. I've had many Christmases since then, some with family and some not. I always try to enjoy it wherever I'm at, but for me, what's nice, and I think what makes Christmas for me now is finding that sense of peace again, and going somewhere where I can experience that stillness on a day when, yeah, just everything is shut down, and people are with their families or doing doing things that they need to or are used to doing, and I just sit with myself, and I really like it. So that's an idea for you if you're looking at new traditions. If this Christmas is looking very different than you're used to, whether by your choice or not, it can be whatever you want it to be. In Japan, it's a couples holiday, so you're more likely to spend it with your significant other rather than this whole big family thing. It can be friends, it can be extended family, or maybe just your immediate family if the extended family is the problem. I encourage you, if there's something not working about Christmas for you that just maybe makes it hang over your head like it used to hang over mine, I hope you can figure out a way to avoid those things in the future and make it what you really want it to be and make it special for you. But yeah, that's it. Merry Christmas, Happy Christmas, everyone. And let's do our best in this new year coming. We've got a lot to do, I think, to try to make the world a better place. And so that's what I'm planning on doing, and I hope you'll be there with me. Thanks, everyone.
Do you have a Christmas story, Joe?
Well, I got lots of Christmas memories. That's one of the few things I remember about my childhood is our Christmases. I'm one of these people that I don't remember most of my childhood, and but like Christmases I remember quite well. And but the one that stands out to me for some reason is actually from my mission. I had two Christmases in Lima, and in Lima, Peru, and I had one was in the MTC. And let me tell you, being on a mission on Christmas is hard. Being in the MTC on Christmas in Peru, oh, it's so hard. It's like you're still in a foreign country. You still, you get to call your parents, because you can call your parents on Christmas and Mother's Day. And now they just get to pull their parents up on Facebook and chat with them. I shouldn't be pissed about that. I should be glad about that. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm hateful about it. I'm really angry.
I only got 2 phone calls my whole mission home.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got 4. But
permission from the mission president to call home.
That's not true. I had a 5th one because I got sick and they let me call my mom to tell her that I wasn't dying. So, but
Oh my gosh.
then the but yeah. So, but one Christmas, I got a very special gift from the Lord Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. There was a OBGYN who was just a little bit older than me. I was 21, and no, no, I was 20. I was 20 years old, and there was a doctor at the local hospital who was just a few years older than me, cute as a button, from Cusco. Her name was Coney, and she met me, and I met her, and she was living with relatives there in Lima, and instant smitten, both sides mutual. I mean, just the cutest person and intelligent. She had the cutest little Cusqueña accent. We talked about Quechua, which is the language that the Inca people speak there now, the modern indigenous people there. And we started telling stories to each other, and it was pretty clear, apparently, to everybody but us that these two apparently need to be in a room by themselves, but that's not allowed. I started teaching her because she was living with relatives who were members of the church, and they agreed to be in the room while I was teaching her with my companion. And then they kept finding excuses to leave the room or to try and pull him out. And I'm like, you can't, nope, come back, come on, come back. They were all apparently they were all kind of grossed out. And I taught her I had a work visit with my zone leader, Elder Doty. And and after we were done with that conversation, he and I stepped outside, and he looked at me and he said, "So, that's a cute little snakeita." And I said, "Who?" like an idiot. Now you have to understand, in some Mormon missions, girls who are the trap that might cause you to break the law of chastity and leave the mission in dishonor are called snakes or snakitas in Latin-speaking countries. And I said, "Who? Coney? No. And he's like, "Everybody knows." And I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "Everybody knows. Everybody knows. Everybody's talking about it. You got yourself a little snakeita." And I said, that's not it at all. It's not it at all. And he's like, "She's a distraction." And I'm like, "She's a doctor." He's like, "She's a distraction." So
Dr. Distractor.
he says, "As your priesthood leader, I'm instructing you to contact the sister missionaries and have them take over teaching her." As far as I know, she never joined the church. So probably from Mormon Joe's perspective, it's probably for the best. Maybe even from Exmo Joe's perspective, it's probably for the best, because like my life definitely wouldn't have turned out like this if I had married this girl, because I probably would have. I mean, honestly,
Oh man.
she was quite the thing.
Yeah.
We might be doing the show in Spanish.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I wouldn't be doing the show at all. Probably. I'll probably still be in the church.
Oh, true.
I know.
Same.
Maybe. I don't know. But
Ugh.
now I'm back in church. I said I'd never go into a church again. I'd never have anything to do with the church again. I'm an atheist for life, and now I run an atheist church. Who's to say what's going to happen in the future?
That's right. Well, if this teaching person wasn't a distraction, then we know that you can't be trusted anyway.
Don. With his
Okay,
Capri Sun looking innocent. Sheesh.
I had
Tim?
my favorite. I'm sending you some pictures I want inserted with these stories. When I'm going to first talk about my first Christmas was in Detmold, Germany, and we went to the Lutheran church, the Evangelisch Church, Martin Luther Church, and they sang a cantata. Fuck. I just put them into the chat, and it was really nice. We taught this family, this couple, and he was from Budapest, and I didn't know that Buda and Pest were two separate places. But we called the city Budapest, but it was actually two separate cities at one time, and they combined it. And that was a really nice Christmas. We were walking home from church, and from this service. We were walking through the Christmas tree lot, and we were looking at the Christmas trees. And the guy picks up a Christmas tree. It was like a Charlie Brown Christmas tree. It was really small. And he handed it to us. He said, "Merry Christmas." And we walked home carrying that tree, and we put it in our apartment.
Okay, I think I can add that picture to the stage.
Aw.
Oh, that's near Essen. That's Essen, Germany. That's Christmas 1974.
That is not that there's a tree worse than this that you were talking
Oh,
about.
yes. It was worse than that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was in my apartment
Oh
on
wow.
Sexstrasse. Yeah, that's the one in Detmold. That's the
Beautiful.
eighth one. Oh, yeah.
I love the
That was-
Facebook notifications on the screen too. Talking about Heidi.
Oh.
Oh.
Cool.
Heidi Love is
Oh,
a
thank
Heidi
you.
Love. There you go.
Thank you.
That is
Nice.
permanently emblazoned on my Facebook every page I go to.
Oh no.
They-
It says Heidi is the bomb. It's a comment. It's a post to
Boom.
posting Jane's interview with Heidi Love.
That's right. I interviewed Heidi Love, and everybody goes see it. And so
Well, that's the
what about
church
this
in-
photo then?
That's Christmas. That's Elder Zeiter next to me, and that's me with the Elder shirt on, and that's
There's not going to be a quiz after, is there?
Borkhart with the yellow shirt on, and Crandall and Hall. And Elder
Wow.
Hancock is the one who took the picture.
I don't recognize you without a beard, Tim. Which one are you again?
The one with the shirt that says Elder that's backwards.
Elder backwards.
Oh, really?
Elder
Oh,
backwards.
how funny.
What happened?
But we went to
Guys
the
see that?
Catholic church.
How
Is
fun.
your elder shirt a Christmas gift?
Yes, my sister sent it to me.
Did
Aw.
you have that so that you could run backwards? It said you could run behind cars, and they looked in the side view mirror, they would know who you were. Oh
Right.
shit! Elders after us.
Is that the German version of Tiny Tim from
Eh,
the Christmas Carol
Christmas story.
in the yellow shirt?
or Charlie
Why
Brown,
not?
right?
I guess.
Right?
Yeah. Same brain. Same brain. Oh my gosh.
Same brain. Same.
It
What's
looks
this
like
all
you,
about?
you and another person there have antenna. And you're from Mars.
I love it.
Did you want to say anything else about these church pictures?
Well, that's not that one. That's the one in Detmold. That's the Essen Cathedral, basically in the middle of town. And that's where we went. And we went for Christmas Mass. All 6 of us were there. It was really nice.
Did you go to the spooky Hitler Castle, like the scary one with the
That
steps?
wasn't in our mission.
Dang it, that one's so awesome.
That was
I
actually-
definitely want to go there.
Is
That
the
was
one in
near
Nuremberg?
Detmold.
Yeah,
I was in Detmold. If I had known at the time when I was in Detmold that it was near there, we probably would have gone there. I just
Oh,
thought
it's
it
so
was-
cool.
Well,
Like definitely nothing else in there, nothing built there, just like the hole that they sealed. I'm like, no kitchen, nothing. Okay. Weird.
While we're here, I'm going to show another picture of a Christmas this year that will be always remembered. Right, Joe?
Oh my
You'll always
gosh,
remember this
Joe.
Christmas.
Did you like that?
Oh Lord,
That's
I have not
Derek
seen
from
this.
that vision.
Who
And
is
my
that?
gosh.
Joe?
that video is going to premiere on
This is
Christmas Day, so it's
hysterical.
just now for people.
Yeah, so that everybody's going to see this tomorrow.
Oh my
'cause
gosh.
we're recording for Tuesday night.
Joe,
So
I'm
I was-
sad. We don't have a picture.
We totally have to. We have to have a picture like this. I think.
Oh my gosh, so funny.
That's with
Oh,
Derek,
yeah.
who lives in Florida. So I mean, we can make this happen. You just gotta,
That's
you just gotta send me a
hilarious.
picture if you want.
Oh my
Actually,
gosh.
even that, what I did is I fed into AI a picture of the Step Brothers.
Oh, yeah,
poster, you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
movie
yeah.
Step Brothers.
Uh-huh,
where they
love
look
it.
together. I'm like, give me a picture of me and this guy posing like this, and it,
Oh,
it
that's
tried.
hilarious.
I ended up having
Oh,
to
wow.
Photoshop it. It took me
Pretty
like all
funny.
morning, but it is funny.
Okay, Tim, what's
Oh.
your story about this building?
Ooh, beautiful.
Well, that's the one in Detmold. That was the Lutheran church. My first Christmas in Germany.
The churches are different there in Europe. It's weird. Like I've been to Italy and I've been to Notre Dame in Paris and before it had its issue. And it's just it's amazing being in some of those buildings. It's
Oh, they're
crazy.
gorgeous inside. The cathedral and the Paderborn was something else. It's really
Except
Am
the
I
dead
only
people.
one-
Except
am
the
I
dead-
the only
yeah.
one in this that's too poor to go to Europe? I mean, I'm just a humble church mouse. And like all
I-
these people are telling me about touring in Europe and stuff. Man,
I had a stewardess daughter, so that
oh.
was yeah. I got lucky for a minute until she hated me, but other than that, we laughed because we don't want to cry. No.
That's right.
And then with my family, when I was married to my first wife, we used to go caroling to people around the church and families we knew would go caroling. And one night we came up from caroling and there was a box of presents on our doorstep. And so Santa Claus came while we were gone.
Aw, I love that.
It was really neat.
I
Yeah.
love that. I bet the kids flipped out. That's fun.
Oh, they did. We flipped out. Who did this? Oh,
Aw,
Well,
I love that.
apparently on this show, ladies go last. And so, Heidi, do you have Christmas stories to share?
sure. So
Because we
one
saved
of
the
my-
best for last. That's
the
why.
best for last. Oh, pressure. Oh my gosh. I don't know if I can beat Germany. Mine's a little humble, but my grandpa, he was pretty big into the whole Santa thing because he had this beard and it was great. And he dressed up like Santa and come to the house. And you know, being smart sucks sometimes because I figured it out because he wore this ring all the time. He had this tiger's eye ring. It was very not everyday ring, you know, big gaudy thing, like Liberace. And he was maybe it was 5 or 6, and I was like, I know that ring. Like, I see you. But it was still fun. It was he always made everything super funny. He did this little skit with the Magic Man. Maybe he knew Joseph. I don't know. But yeah. He would say, think of this, you know, he would lead you along. He would say, like, what could we eat? Oh, how about cake? How about what would we want? A chocolate cake? You know, he would kind of lead you into this that you wanted it, that this was your idea. And he would say, make it appear, and it would be out behind a tree or something. And it was super fun. You know,
It's like mentalist level crowd control.
Yeah, he was cool. Yeah. He definitely wasn't in the church, a little bit associated with the mob, or, you know, in the early days. From Chicago, pretty bad. But, you know, his wife was super Mormon. So he converted maybe 5 years before he died. They actually made it to the temple. But
wow.
yeah, he had to change his name. But he was awesome. Not normal Mormon family.
He's in the witness protection program because he killed
Yeah.
Jimmy Hoffa.
I mean,
I'm-
he was a 1%er biker, you know, those kind of things. Oh yeah,
Wow.
you know, yeah, he was crazy. I mean, but life at my house was always weird. We had this dichotomy of like really religious grandma and then like heathen people, and I was like, oh my gosh, I should do what she's doing. She doesn't go to jail on the weekends. Like, I don't want to go to jail. I think I'll be a good Mormon. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, That's how that happens.
That's what happened. I was like, I do not want to go to jail because I see my aunt there and she made makeup out of colored pencils, and that was when you could visit them, like go and be on the phone, and it was scary. Whew. As for like Christmases with the kids, I mean, my Christmases with my kids, we always do on Christmas Eve night because my dad passed away, and he gave us that story to teach the children about Santa, the old ways of Santa. And it had like a little box with it. He gave it to us one year, and it had like all the things from the story, like a bell and a star and the little bag and all the things. And we read that every Christmas Eve because my dad passed away. So it became a lot more special than it was when he first gave it, right? When you first get it, you're like kind of like the underwear in A Christmas Story, like, you know. But later, it became really important. I was like, oh, Dad, yeah, that was actually really sweet of him because he's not really like that. He wasn't really that guy. So, yeah.
I
Also-
hated the Christmas Story because like whenever we
loved
would
it.
come up to Utah to visit the Rollins family, they would ask that we would have to do the nativity. They would read the nativity like Luke 2 or whatever, and everybody would have to put towels on their head because we were Jews.
Did you dress
And,
up? You did that?
Well, they made us do it. I was like, I'm not doing it because I get cast as Joseph every year. And then I
Because you had a beard already.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
No, because I was Joseph. Joseph is Joseph. And so I'd always have to sit next to one of my cousins with a doll in her hands and be her husband, be her cuckold husband. And I hated it every year. I'm like, I'm not doing it. They're like, you don't even have to do anything. You just sit there. And I think there are actually photos of me sitting there like just hating it.
You should get the picture. That's funny. I have that as well with my brother and the baby
could be-
Jesus.
That could be where you started developing your face that you start shows with.
It's true. Could be.
The Joseph.
Now this is
Joseph.
a lifetime of 3-hour church because they didn't have 2-hour Mormon church. We were hardcore. This is the
Oh man.
This is 23 years of Mormon church.
Well, but you didn't have the priesthood in the morning, Sunday school, and sacrament meeting.
Yeah. I still maintain the block is worse, but I didn't live through that. But you're right. I didn't.
Yep.
I hated the block. I hated it.
So Megan, tell me what Christmas stories you have.
So when you first asked me to do this, I had 3 stories that came to mind, and it's sort of like a Christmas past, Christmas present, Christmas future thing. So it fits along with the Christmas Carol theme. But so one of them is when I was a kid. The other one was when my kids were a little younger, and one of them is a little more present day, but kind of what my future Christmases I think are going to look like. So the one from when I was a kid is the first time that I think I realized Santa was not real. And I lived in South Dakota. My siblings and I loved to go sledding. We had like a little track that we would build a sled track in our front yard every year. And we would build snow forts and have snowball fights and stuff. And that was all super fun for us. So we also had one of those big conversion vans. And it was one of those that had like the 2 seats in the front, 2 seats in the middle that kind of swiveled around. And in the back, and in the back, there was a bench that you could fold out into a bed. And we used to take lots of road trips. So we were always in this van. And behind the bench, there was a little like place where you could hang clothes. And then there was also like this little sort of sink area that you could put ice in and then put a topper on it. And that would be like your cooler. So it almost acted like a refrigerator on road trips and stuff. It's kind of cool. But I just remember one day we were on our way home from church and we were messing around in the back seat and my parents were distracted up in the front seat. And we were looking out the back window, waving at cars and trying to get semis to honk their horns and stuff. And I looked down at that little storage area and there were a bunch of sleds back there, like standing upright. So I could see that there were sleds back there. And I got super excited because I was like, oh my gosh, Mom and Dad bought us sleds. You know, I was so like happy and excited thinking that they were going to give us sleds right now to play with. And when we got home and we were like, okay, we're going to go outside. We're going to go play in the snow. And they didn't say like, oh, I got you some sleds. We were like, oh, well, maybe those are a Christmas gift.
Right.
And then a couple days later, my parents were getting ready for something. I can't remember what it was. And I went up into their bedroom and they were both in the bathroom, like doing their hair or whatever. And I went into their bedroom and I looked around the corner and I could see that there was a TV set up and there was a VCR underneath it. And I knew we didn't own a VCR because it was back in the day when you could rent a VCR, and we would rent a VCR every other weekend or so and play videos. But this one didn't look like a rental. It wasn't in the big case and everything like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's a VCR. And so I was talking with my brother about it. And I was like, Mom and Dad have a VCR. And he's like, oh, I bet that's a Christmas present, you know, or whatever. So Christmas morning, we wake up and there's a TV set up in the living room with a VCR there. And we had to just like pretend like we were so excited because it was the first time that we were seeing it. And we had to pretend like we were so excited for the sleds. And honestly, it was a little like disappointed. And it taught me to never, ever go looking for Christmas presents again because I did not want to know. I wanted to be surprised.
Yeah, the surprise is better than being sort of like in the know.
Yep.
At first, the knowledge seemed good, right? But then
Yep.
it just went away. And then what was your
Yep.
next story?
And then also I am a little bit of a prankster. So this is the story of how I made one of my children cry on Christmas Eve. we can laugh about it now, but back then it was pretty traumatic time. I started doing Christmas PJs for my kids. I can't remember when. At some point, the grandparents loved to help out with that little tradition. And I liked the idea of like they could open their Christmas PJs on Christmas Eve, and then all the bigger gifts would be saved for Christmas morning, where it was a little more exciting. So I started that tradition of doing PJs on Christmas Eve. But one of my sons, when he was about 7 years old, he thought that that was the lamest present in the entire world, and he did not want PJs for Christmas. And
I was
it
7. I understand.
yeah, I've been 7. And as a boy, I'm sure, like I get it. So even what there was, we had a tradition of like writing a list for Santa, like what are your gifts and all of that stuff. And then we would, we would pretend to mail it and all of that. And he was very emphatically clear on his Christmas list, do not get me PJs. He said like, dear Santa, here are the things I want. And he listed them, and at the bottom in big letters, he said, no, he put PGs because he didn't really know, PJs. He was very emphatic about that. And every time I asked him what he wanted for Christmas, he would say, not PJs. So what I did is instead I got him a little miniature Lego set, and I wrapped it up and set it aside. And then I had like a standard box that the PJs came in. It was like those standard clothing boxes that you get from department stores. And I put some like just some of those cushy wrappers that come with the Amazon boxes, like the little air filled pouches, I put them inside the box, and then I wrapped the box. So under the tree, there were 6 identical boxes that were obviously Christmas PJs, but his box was empty. So we went to go open Christmas PJs that night, and everybody at the same time went and opened their boxes, and he opened his and it was empty. And he was so upset that he started to cry. And I thought it would be just a funny joke, and I said, well, you said you didn't want Christmas PJs, so I didn't get you Christmas PJs. And he was very upset. And then I got sad because I made my son cry on Christmas Eve, but I went and got him his Lego set, and then he could open that, which sort of made up for it, but not really. Go ahead.
Moral of the story, don't give your kids freaking empty boxes on Christmas when they're like 8 years old.
That was perfect timing.
We can leave that in.
Totally leave that in. He's 18 now. As you can see, he's sort of
Survived.
he almost has gotten over it.
PTSD though is still a thing for PJs.
12 years later.
PTSD.
Yeah, that's right. PJTSD.
A little bit upset.
I don't blame you.
I had a similar experience that you'll learn about when you watch our Christmas special to see everybody else's Christmas. Now, was there another one still, or were the 2?
Yeah. So the last one is a little more of a heartwarming story. The first one was a cautionary tale. The second one was a sad story, and this one is a little more heartwarming, Christmassy. I got divorced several years ago, back in 2017, and the way that we set up our holiday time is that we were going to exchange at noon on Christmas Day. So every other year, I would have the kids for Christmas Eve and Christmas morning, and then the following year, I would get them at noon on Christmas Day. And the first year, I had my kids with me for Christmas Eve and Christmas morning, which was great because that first time of getting divorced was so volatile. I was so grateful that one thing was the same for me. But the next year, I knew I was going to be facing not having my kids on my favorite night of the year, where I had planned and prepared and all that, and all of our traditions and rituals that we did together on Christmas Eve. I would be alone for that, and I would wake up alone Christmas morning, and I was really, really sad about that, and the prospect of facing that. So instead of just sitting there being sad and lonely, I decided to call up a friend of mine and say, hey, what are you guys doing for Christmas? I'm going to be without my kids. Can I come hang out with you Christmas Eve? And they said, well, Christmas Eve, we're going to someone else's house, but they said, Christmas morning we'll be together, with our kiddos, and we would love to have you come. And it happened to be, they're the parents of some of my former students. So two of their 3 kids I had taught in high school. And so they were some of my favorite students. I was super close with them. So I thought that sounded like a great idea. And so I got up on Christmas morning and went over there, and they had this lovely brunch prepared, some lovely mimosas, some of my favorite foods, and they're some of my favorite people. And one of their traditions is on Christmas morning to talk about the most important lesson that they had learned over the last year, or the most significant life change that they had gone through over the past year. And it was such a beautiful conversation with these 3 adult children who have very, very different lives, and they have very different goals for themselves and different values and everything. But their parents raised them, without religion, and they were able to just find happiness without it. And so I was still in the church at the time, at least, mostly in the church. I hadn't resigned or anything. And so it was really cool for me to see kids who had been raised without religion finding happiness in their adult years, and also still having a high sense of morality, and also still having a deep sense of wanting to be good and do good in the world. And I came away from that conversation just feeling like that was one of the most beautiful Christmas mornings I've ever had, even though my kids weren't there with me, and I just will always be grateful to them for allowing me to crash their Christmas day.
Yeah, it's so nice to realize that, the where will you go mantra is just wrong. There are beautiful humans everywhere.
Yeah.
And, we're grateful for all the beautiful humans that we know inside and outside the church, where maybe as members, we didn't know that those beautiful humans existed outside the church. Thanks for sharing these stories. We're going to go back to the show now and hope, everybody that we cut back to doesn't know that this happened, but we'll see how the rest of it
Pre-recorded.
Yeah.
Well, I want to just say thank you so much for doing this, Jean, because last year actually was my first Christmas as a non-literal believer. And it was really hard for me to figure out how to do Christmas. And I stumbled across RFM's Christmas show where he had several people just come in and give their little blurb. And it was so important. Again, it was another year where I didn't have my kids on Christmas Eve and I was by myself. And I just needed that. I needed it so much, that sense of community and other people who are going through what I was going through. So I'm so grateful that you're doing this.
Thank you. And I'm very happy to do it. Yeah, I'm modeling from RFM, and we're lucky to be in Tim's living room sharing these stories.
Well, thanks again for inviting me. I appreciate you.
Tell us about your Christmas experiences growing up.
My best childhood Christmas memories are from a home that I grew up in that I'm extremely nostalgic about. And if you want to think of a kind of a Leave It to Beaver neighborhood in California that's maybe more diverse, much more diverse, and maybe like a little bit more run down. But the neighborhood was just filled with kids. You'd run around and play kick the can and hide and seek and bicycles and just this classic. The heyday of this neighborhood was probably the 1950s, and I was growing up in this neighborhood in the 1970s. But the one memory I have, I remember going into the garage of this home, which was a separate structure behind the house. And back in the 60s and 70s, people had old cars and stuff in their garage and tools, just stuff laying around because everybody did everything for themselves. They didn't buy stuff; they didn't make stuff, right? And I remember going out there one day. It was kind of a place you just kind of go explore as a kid. And I ran across some Christmas gifts that were waiting to be wrapped. And I saw a record player. I don't know if you guys remember the little record player that was in a box. It was like it looked like a little suitcase. You open it up and it's got the wheels about the size of a 45 record.
Right.
You
A portable.
Regular yeah, it was a portable LP.
Record player.
Yeah. And I thought to myself, that might be for me, right? So I didn't say anything, and it got wrapped up in the famous butcher paper. My dad would wrap stuff up in butcher paper. White
Santa used white butcher paper.
Yeah, and then he would draw cartoons on it and things like that, And I remember having to sort of act surprised that I didn't know what I was getting, because it was a record player for me. This would have been about 1975 or 76. I remember playing a Winnie the Pooh record with you had a book and you could listen to this book. This is like an ebook, the first ebooks, right, on LP records.
That's right, because you're only like 6 or 7 at the time or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And so that was a fond memory. Of course, we had, we go get the real Christmas tree, put a real Christmas tree in the front room, decorate it.
Would your family go to just a Christmas lot, or would you go to a Christmas, cut your own Christmas tree down place?
I think we did cut our Christmas tree once. I was too young. I think we did that once or twice, but no, in the 70s, we would go to a Christmas lot, usually at a parking lot of a mall nearby, a shopping area would have a section, and you'd go pick a Christmas tree. And we were the kind of family, I would say we typically got the tree maybe 2 weeks or so before Christmas, and you'd have to decorate it. But these were back in the days when you would light a real fire in your fireplace in your house. Yeah, those were very nostalgic times.
Did you ever make popcorn on a string for
absolutely,
decoration?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Popcorn on a string, wrap that around the tree. A lot of homemade Christmas decorations. Yeah.
And what was your Christmas stocking? What was in your Christmas stocking every year? We had an orange or a tangerine and some nut.
Yeah, we had some of that stuff. Maybe a sugar daddy. Those of you remember sugar daddy suckers. Sugar daddies. My mom would make peanut brittle, make her own peanut brittle. Well, my mom actually made our family's Christmas stockings and put our name on all of them. And we had a large family.
That's right. You're the youngest. The youngest of how many kids?
The youngest of 9.
9.
Yeah.
So when you were 6, did you have siblings on missions and stuff then?
Yes. Well, in fact, 1975, I had a brother on a mission. That's right.
Right.
1970, I had a brother on a mission. Yeah, those are very, very fond memories. In fact, maybe another time I should show you the home that I grew up in. I was about 10 when we moved away from this home. But we decorated the home. My dad he's an artist, and we deck out the house with some really cool stuff. I mean, it would make the paper kind of thing.
Christmas was a time to shine for your dad.
Yeah, all of it. I don't want to talk too long about all this, but I do want to say Merry Christmas to everybody. And I want to say that I'm sorry I haven't been able to join the group as often as I'd like. Maybe that will change in the future, but I had a busy time And I'm really glad to have, I want to especially thank Eugene for reaching out to me several years ago, and we had a common interest, and we become good friends. I've told you on several occasions, you're like, talking to you was like just getting to know family again to me.
That's right. I am the best Christmas gift you've ever had.
That's right. That's right. And it's been, you introduced me to Tim Rathbone. We've had a few conversations, and I've talked with Debbie, like a planned 30 minutes, ends up talking for 2 hours, kind of phone call. And there's a few of you in the group that I've not had a chance to talk to personally yet, but I'd certainly like to do that. My life's going to be quite busy from now until the middle of March, basically. But I'll jump on when I can, and I hope to continue developing our friendships through all this. It's been very helpful to me to have a group to talk to, sort of happen spontaneously the past couple months. Yeah.
Yes.
So thanks, and Merry Christmas.
That's right. It's been great growing into best friends. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But one last thing, do you remember your first Christmas in Thailand when you were on your mission?
Well,
you get the call.
That's pretty. Yes, but it's pretty easy for me. Basically, I have some musical abilities that I got used during my mission. So I was always near the mission president during Christmas time because he wanted me up on stage playing some music, which I did willingly and eagerly, and have had a chance to do some of that recently as well. In fact, I'll say that the call I just had before we were talking tonight, I've been invited to some big wig party to try to play some music tomorrow night, which I'm having to skip out on some family party to do that a little bit. So I'm always getting pulled in many directions in December. So
yeah.
Anyway,
so is there any Christmassy stuff in Thailand?
Sure, lots of Christmas trees, Santa, but the Christian community certainly does things. You can go to concerts and Christmas themed events. Absolutely, yeah. But Christmas Eve and Christmas Day are just they're not government holidays, and most of the well, I would say most of Thailand, they know it's Christmas, but it's just like any other day here.
That's right. And you get to experience Christmas about 12 hours before we do. So congratulations to you.
You got it. Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks.
See ya. Right.
Take care.
I had 4 brothers, and one year we had this plastic toy that was like you put marbles on it and it would spin around, you stack them up, and they would drop. They would like race around, and they would drop into the next thing and race around. And we just did that for like 7 hours. All the rest of the day.
Wow.
Like marbles going.
Yeah.
Parents had to go in another room. Just like
And
this.
then how long was it before
I understand that.
you
There was
got
no
not
Fortnite.
interested in it? You lost interest in it. And you get this toy, you can play for it for about a week or two, and
Right.
then it's like, oh well,
A common Christmas toy story that they should make a cartoon about. A lot of toys that are no longer played with by their.
that's right. Right.
I feel like
It's
that's
okay.
me with my family. I think it's called the Land of Misfit Toys.
There's that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple
That too.
stories in a way about that.
Right.
I started a new solstice tradition this morning. I figured out how to play videos on StreamYard, and so before we got started with our Sunday sermon today, we played our first solstice song for the Church of Korahor, and so I'm already rebuilding new traditions. And it
Oh,
was good.
that's serious.
I think all my Christmas memories usually surround food because, Christmas is the foodie season. And it was really interesting because I made this bread my grandma used to make for my dad.
Poppy.
Holiday poppy seed bread. So it's a sweet bread that's egg based, almost like a challah would be.
Pound cake, sort of.
No, it's more like if you've ever had challah bread,
Yeah, that's
where
too.
it's dense,
too
like a
for me.
dense, it's like a dense bread, but sweet. And then inside of it, like a cinnamon swirl would be, it's a poppy seed paste.
Mhm.
And I think it's German or Polish. So we used to make that every Christmas because my dad grew up with that every Christmas. And I made it last night for him. So that was kind
Family
of
tradition.
Yes. But as I was looking through my mom's recipe box, looking for that recipe, it was really kind of sentimental because she used to bake, all the holiday treats because I don't know if it's like this anymore, but when we grew up, like the neighborhood exchange where you'd make little treats for everyone and exchange it around the neighborhood, like your favorite plate of cookies or your homemade candies or chocolates.
Fudge,
So,
right?
Yes, very much. And I used to be that way when I first had kids with Christmas, even before kids, I would bake all the favorite holiday treats and then mail it out to all my family. And I remember one year my husband was like, oh my gosh, like how much did we spend on shipping? Like, was that really worth the little, little snacks that I used to make? And I was like, maybe not. That's a little pricey. So
That's right.
But-
It's the thought that counts, right?
it is the thought that counts.
And do you have any memories of Christmas when you were young, like your first Christmas or a special present that you got or anything?
I just remember being a kid and like waiting up all night, like, is Santa coming? Like, it was kind of like, is he here yet? That feeling of anticipation. of like at any moment he could be in the basement or he could be downstairs, you know, putting those gifts in, and just kind of that imagination and anticipation, and then like kind of creeping down the stairs to maybe look and see if there were presents under the tree. Or my parents used to make us wait before we could go down for them to wake up and, you know, get ready. And so we just sit there like at the top of the stairs waiting for that like moment where they would like, okay, you can go see your presents, because that was always exciting, like going down and seeing like just that magical moment of Christmas.
That's
Very
right.
sentimental.
Compare that to nowadays, where you just flip on an app or go to a website and you can track Santa. You know exactly where he is, just like all your packages that get shipped nowadays.
Right. Well, and also because, you know, like our parents grew up without like having massive credit card debt. Like credit cards weren't really a thing back in the 70s and 80s. And my parents didn't believe in using like that kind of leverage, and it wasn't as available. And so consumerism was like, you know, your special day was your birthday and you got your present and your party. But like really, you weren't getting stuff like 24/7 all the time, where everything is a gift holiday, which seems
right.
to be like it is now. And so, you know, Christmas was that one time a year where you would kind of get spoiled within whatever paradigm you lived in. You got like, it was a special
Right.
celebration day. So I think that kind of has sentiment that I feel is lost on
Yeah.
some of this
Kind of like
generation.
in the Music Man when they sing that song, the Wells Fargo wagon's coming round the
Yeah.
bend. Just the excitement of
Yes.
something happening.
Yeah.
So
So I don't know if it's as sentimental for people nowadays, but I know when I had kids, that's the fun thing about kids is you get to have an excuse to revisit all the holidays and make them fun again, like they were when you were a kid. And
yeah.
I'm a total junkie for holidays. So like Halloween, I always went out. Easter, I always went big.
Did your family have Christmas decorations outside or just inside?
Yeah, we put lights on the trees outside. That was pretty much a thing. Everyone did that. We didn't decorate lights on the house just because my father felt like that was a waste. She had to take them up and put them down. And my
That's
mom
right.
was a nurse, and ladders and Christmas lights usually are a bad combo.
Yes. So yes, your dad's a banker. He knows the value of money. Wasting electricity money on Christmas
Yeah. But
wasn't necessary.
we always had, you know, like that was the thing. My mom always put the Christmas tree up after Thanksgiving. We always had an advent calendar that my mom had made, like in some Relief Society thing, where you took, you know, the day's ornament out and then got to put it on the tree. And every year they would rotate, like who got to start the advent calendar. And it was always really exciting if it was like your turn to put up Santa, because that was like the last ornament meant it was
I think
Christmas.
I remember either some craft at home or at school or whatever, but you get paste and you cut little construction paper things out and you make loops and you keep on looping and looping and looping
Yeah,
until
the
you have
chains.
until you have like 50 feet of chain, and the tree
Oh,
looks
yeah.
like all like construction paper instead of things. And did you guys go to the Christmas lot and pick out trees and have a fresh tree?
No, we always had a fake tree. Well, usually I think
Uh-huh.
we do like a real Christmas wreath, but we always had the same fake Christmas tree.
My mom bought one of those just silver trees that was just like all silvery, whatever. And we bought a light that would do red, yellow, green, blue. It would rotate the colors. And that was pretty cool. And then I think there were some articles about how certain setups around Christmas trees caught fire. That might have been, but that might have been why we stopped getting live Christmas trees, was because of the dangers
Yeah.
of real Christmas trees catching fire or something.
Yeah. Well, as we got older, it was interesting because my mom then would do like, she finally had a formal tree that she put in the living room, which was like in the front of the house that you could see from outside the window. And that was like her nice Christmas tree. And I remember it had like a teddy bear theme. So it was like all these little tiny teddy bear ornaments. That was really cute. But then in the family room, we had our artificial tree that we grew up with, and it had all the homemade ornaments, because that was very much a big thing in like your school class or primary or whatever you were in, was making that homemade ornament out of either like the salt Play-Doh or
or maybe
shrinky-dinks or
something with a picture of Jesus on it, gets pasted on, thrown up there.
The toothpick manger. Yes.
And
So
do you
we
remember,
had the sentimental tree as well.
do you remember thinking, well, I'm Mormon and I know that Jesus was born on April 6th, but wink, wink, we'll celebrate his birthday anyway on December 25th, just to go along to get along?
You know what? Because I think my dad was a convert and my mom wasn't really raised uber Mormon and then we kind of, their family went through a faith moment and she kind of picked it up later in life. I never knew that was a thing, as far as that Mormons believed Jesus was born on a different day. I don't think I heard that until I was an adult.
Right. Or maybe late seminary or something like that, if you had
Yeah.
Doctrine and
you know,
Covenants.
like the whole thing seemed hokey at that point anyway. So I was like, whatever, you know, I didn't put a lot of stock in it. And then we also had on New Year's, so we would get our stockings filled on Christmas. on New Year's, we had Kris Kringle would come and fill your stocking. So we got kind of two holidays that
Wow.
no one else really had. The Kris Kringle.
I remember getting some noisemakers on Christmas, and it was like, don't make any noise now. That's for next week. Like, oh, okay. Like little horns that look
Oh,
like
yeah.
different horns, but they all make the same sound.
Yes, yes.
So anyway, thanks, Debbie, for sharing your Christmas memories. Any last things, or you want to wish our fans Merry Christmas or anything?
Oh yeah, Merry Christmas. Enjoy the holidays. Eat treats. Enjoy it. Have fun. Kiss your family.
That's right, because our 12 fans need, to feel good during the holidays, and having Debbie wish them happy holidays is going to make their day.
I hope so.
All right, see you later.
I believe it or not, that was better than the joke I held back, which was it? Did you want to wheel when those were new?
Oh.
I love you, Tim. It's a joke, Tim. I love it.
I know.
Yeah, I did the fire, you did the wheel, all in one show.
There it is.
And so
Oh,
you
that's
said
Fire
you
in the
did
wheel.
Heidi.
And what would be
Yes, this is Santa was a little exuberant here. I always end up on
yeah.
Santa's lap, even when I say no, and it's uncomfortable. I don't know. Maybe it's the authority priesthood thing, right?
Oh my gosh. This is a story about non-consent, my word.
Looks like a
Oh, wow.
Mormon Santa.
That's me and my
Oh,
daughter.
wow.
Yeah, he was happy to
Well,
see us.
Joseph Smith married mother-daughter pairs.
Yeah, she's the one that took off out of the family, so no more of that, I guess.
Wish I can make it bigger. I can do this.
Oh shoot,
I can do
It was-
that.
Oh, wow.
he's pretty excited, I think. Yeah.
But
That
from here, I don't see
velvet
it.
doesn't leave a lot to the imagination, there, little Saint Nick.
Santa, you bad guy, you.
Bad Santa.
Dirty Santa. Yeah, too funny. Yeah, you never know what's gonna happen. Never know with my family. It's always I did almost get in a fight once at Ogden Lights. Every time you go by, the lights there now, my kids are like, remember that one year when mom lost it on that lady? And I was like, do we have to talk about this every single year? And they do. They think it's hysterical. I'm like, awesome. Oh, people kept crowding and crowding and crowding. And somebody pushed my kid. And I was like, we don't touch my kids. It's an adult. It was an adult. I was
My
like,
dad actually was a part of a union that made big money back in the 70s. And it was the Ships Clerks Union, part of the ILWU, waterfront workers. They had done lots of strikes in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. So their money would go up. And we would go to Disneyland like every year, and they would buy the pastel chalk paintings of us kids and put them up
Aw.
in frames. And we got like mouse ears every time.
oh,
But then at some point it became, it's too expensive, and I don't know if my dad was working less at the time or what, but also we woke up one morning to 5 boys had 5 new bikes.
ooh,
Wow.
And
That's
so that was a big one.
That's a freaking big
another
day.
year we had sleds because we had a cabin in the Sierra foothills, we'll say 4,000 elevation, right? Not quite the upper mountains, but we could get to snow very easily. And then we got like a home movie camera as part of the thing. We had
ooh.
an organ that the family played. Is like a small bookshelf size organ that played different sounds. You can make it do like space sounds or tuba or different things. And so those things were kind of funny. And so
Ooh.
some high fidelity
I remember
family
those.
equipment. And all I remember is like when we had a good record player, I broke the needle. Apparently.
Oh, oh.
Uh-oh.
And it wasn't until I was an adult when we had a VCR and we had kids putting silverware into the VCR slot because it's
Uh-oh.
perfectly handy,
Oh,
perfectly
no.
good place to put knives and forks and spoons, right where the VHS tape goes.
There's always a story about VHS.
Then I realized
VCRs, man.
Oh man.
this is how much my parents hated me.
Oh no.
Now I know why they said, Gene, don't touch the record player anymore.
Yikes. Ah. You ruined the holiday music for everyone, Gene.
Yeah. And so,
No, just the movie.
I was gonna say, Joe got to play Joseph. So when my firstborn child was born in September, we got to be Mary, Joseph, and baby Jesus
Oh.
that year. And so, obviously God had something to do with it. I pretty much think that I did most of the work as far as, my wife really did all the work, but my 37 seconds counted. That's what I'll just say.
That's right.
But it was like
Oh.
back then it was like, wow, we're Mary, Joseph, Jesus. We are the Mormon family to look out for, right? At the time. Married in the temple. I was, mostly clean as a whistle, we'll say, relative to other years where I succumbed to sins of the flesh. But,
Oh, no.
Oh man.
but anyhow, so yeah, that's our firstborn story. Then
That's
after
funny.
that was like, whatever. No ward Christmas party can top that. So,
Oh man, that's
We did
funny.
that with my family a few years ago with my parents. My dad played Joseph, I think. He couldn't keep a straight face for the whole thing. Just kept laughing.
Laughing at
Oh,
his coldness or what?
Everything. My
that's
dad was
funny.
a jokester, and he just
That's
couldn't
funny.
keep a straight face.
Well,
My
this-
niece was something, my daughter, and my son. Can't remember who the baby was, or what they used for the baby.
Yeah, we're gonna play this show a couple hours before Radio Free Mormons Christmas Eve special, so that we can, what do you call that when you beat somebody to the story?
Beat him to the punch.
Beat them to the
Oh,
punch.
you-
Scoop.
a
We're gonna
scoop.
scoop them.
Scoop
Scoop
them.
We're gonna be the
Scoop them.
first to Christmas Eve, the first Exmo panel to a Christmas Eve show on Tuesday. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any last words that they have to get out before the following week, which is going to be New Year's Eve, where we're going to talk about how we're going to be such a good person the next day,
Oh man.
and we're going to do like a year in review, like how has your year been?
Jeez.
I won't. I have to work on that one, so
We'll,
I'll
we'll
be
do the same
bad.
thing. We'll record. We'll record.
Oh,
it.
okay.
Record early.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's my holiday this year. I did send you one more or two more funny pictures. One is for Tim because of the movie he loves, and the other one is because I'm a weirdo. But and I think we nailed it. I think we did a good job as a family. This one was funny, and you can name that movie if you guys are good at it. But
Doesn't
other
matter
than that,
what order I play these things in.
nuh-uh, nope.
Okay, you'll be able to just
Let's
talk
get a
about them
picture.
as they go.
Sure.
Well,
Yeah.
let's Stage this picture.
Tim, this one's for you. You see my son? He's in the pink bunny outfit from Christmas. Story. I made him do it. Oh,
A deranged Easter bunny.
yes, he was
That
the
reminds
deranged
me.
Easter bunny.
The socks, when you start getting older and you start getting socks and pants and shirts for Christmas instead of toys.
Oh,
My
and we all
mother
had
and I
shirts
always
that
joke
said
about
"You'll shoot
that
your
part.
eye out" or "Fragile."
We always,
when-
when my mother was alive, we always used to joke about that part and the shoot your eye out part.
I love
I
it.
never got
love it.
anything like that from a relative, though. I was lucky.
This one here says "You'll shoot your eye out" right
I
here in
don't
that one.
Somehow it's not going back.
And the other one is a reenactment of a famous Christmas show, and I
you
think we
guys
did a
seeing
pretty good job.
A
Yes,
famous
yes.
Christmas show.
That's right. That is a good one.
Ah,
That's right. Jelly of the
Holy
Month
crap.
Club.
I need some Tylenol. Yes,
That's right. That's one of the best swear word scenes I've ever seen in my whole life.
I love it. Yeah,
Well,
I had to
Not
order a
any swear
dickie.
words.
Okay, so what is that from?
This is from Christmas
Chris-
Vacation.
Christmas
Oh!
Vacation, National Lampoon.
But where's the cousin with the
He's
motorhome
here
and the
here with the sweater and the dickie on, and then he's
Okay.
got a drink glass, and then if you look online, the outfits are pretty spot on. You can't see my
Wow.
daughter's in the back, but she has the pink skirt just like the girl. And yeah, we did a lot of extra work for that one. And this is
Is
a
this
green
your holiday
polo
card that you
with
sent
cat
out
food.
to everybody, to all 4,000?
Yeah, we're
fans?
stupid. Yeah. Yeah, we're stupid.
That's so
We-
funny, man.
Sometimes we do this. This year we didn't, and the kids always ask like, "What's the theme? What's the theme?" And now I'm running out of themes and money because this costs a lot to like buy all the things, And now we have so many people because the 6
Right.
kids got
You-
partners and babies and things.
And
And
you
yeah.
never even did the most famous Christmas movie at all, right? Die Hard.
Oh, there you
Yeah.
go.
Die Hard.
I
Hard.
might could do that one.
Jumping.
Yeah.
Jumping out
Now
of
you
the
can do it.
Nakamata building.
There you go. Oh,
There you
it's so
go.
funny.
Well, thanks everyone for
Great.
watching.
Thank you.
We hopefully
Merry Christmas,
we
everybody.
show
Merry
lots of people
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, it's Weihnachten.
God is
go
not
to Radio Free Mormon and comment in the chat how this was way better than his show.
Wait a minute.
That's
Ah!
right. We're better than Radio Free. We're better
Even
than
if it
Mormon
wasn't.
discussions.
We'll call it lying for the Latter Daily Digest instead of lying
That's
for
right.
the Lord.
That's right. That's what
Okay.
we're doing. Yes.
Sounds good.
And so anyhow, yeah, Christmas and the next week New Year's, and then 2025. When I was a kid, they would make science fiction movies named 2025 that would it couldn't possibly happen because either A, nuclear war, or B,
Yeah.
Jesus would come, and 2025 was never ever going to come. Of course, with the drone things on the East Coast, maybe for them they don't have Christmas this year. I don't know.
There's a conspiracy there. There's all kinds of
There is.
air traffic map outs, and the president and vice president have decided to cancel their flights and stay home.
Really?
So that's also interesting. Mhm.
I think
Yeah.
Amazon is just testing the future of package delivery, and they just wanted to see how it would muck up the skies. That's. What
I
think.
mean, yeah, it could be. I could see it.
So anyway, everybody, like and subscribe. Do the things. Like and subscribe to Christmas. Like and subscribe.
Happy solstice.
Because
remember the child of wonder that was born on Christmas Day, Sir Isaac.
You mean
reason for the
Tammuz?
season is the winter solstice. It showed everybody that the Earth wasn't coming to an end, right? That was the celebration. And every year they had their fingers crossed that would happen. And then the spring solstice is because it's time to do the crops. The fall, the summer one is time to harvest or whatever. The fall one is it's time to can all the food and stuff.
And fall and spring solstices and Martinism are the 2 times you can conjure angels and talk to them. Just saying.
That's right. Like
really?
Moroni.
Yeah.
That's why Moroni came on September 21.
21st.
It's a thing.
How do we know that?
Of 1820 or
Martinism.
1821 or 1822 or 1823 or whenever it was. We'll see.
Oh, came
Right.
to Earth.
Thanks everyone for coming. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Happy Christmas. Merry Christmas.